All right, what is going on, guys? So in today's video, I'm going to do a quick recap of the Apple event that just took place. Now, the main difference between this recap versus my previous ones and probably everyone else's on the YouTube platform is most people are going to tell you about the recap or what took place at the event, but I actually want to tell you guys how I feel about the event. So I just have my bare notes in front of me that I took during the event, and I just kind of want to talk freely about, once again, how I feel about the event overall. All right, so starting from the beginning of the event, let's first talk about Apple TV. And we now have baseball on Friday nights. Cool, I guess. But let's move on to something just a little bit more interesting, which are the new colors for the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro. And the color is called Alpine Green. Now, I guess we're just gonna have this yearly cycle in the spring where Apple just makes a new color for the phone they put out a couple months ago. So at least here in the US, with tax season being around this time, if you couldn't afford to buy the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro during holiday season, I guess Apple's kind of giving you like another reminder, another announcement like, hey, our iPhone 13 is still cool and here's a new shiny color. Maybe you wanna spend part of your tax return on the latest iPhone. That's the only real reason why it makes sense to drop a new color at this time period, even though it's literally the exact same phone. All right, let's move on to something just a little bit more interesting, which is the refresh of the iPhone SE. Now, this refresh has the latest iPhone 13 and 13 Pro processor, which is the A15 Bionic chip. We also have a new camera lens, it's 12 megapixels, and 5G connectivity as well. And the starting price is, wait for it, $429. Now, how I feel about this product, also, if you are interested, you can pre-order Friday and get it the following Friday. How I feel about this product is kind of frustrated at Apple in a sense, because it really just seems, I don't want to use the word lazy, but I just feel like Apple, it is laziness. I'm just going to call it what it is. It just feels like Apple's being lazy, and I don't understand how they're kind of branding this as this iconic design, which I'll give it to them. It is iconic, but I feel as though the smartphone industry has kind of moved on from those times, right? It is iconic for, what it was, but we've all kind of moved on from that era of a forehead and a chin on a smartphone, especially at this price point. But we have 5G. You're in the Apple ecosystem, so you're guaranteed to get plenty of software cycles, as well as a capable processor that's going to last you for many years. The only downside, which is what we saw from the previous SE that got refreshed in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, is the battery life is not going to be that great. So underwhelming with the refresh of the iPhone SE. Now let's move on to something just a little bit more exciting as well, which is actually, I would say this is actually really exciting, is the new iPad Air. So it has the M1 processor, so the processor that is inside this MacBook Air. The second thing that they added was Center Stage, and this is something that I think is really nice on all iPads, but I really do feel like Center Stage would be much more beneficial on iPhones. We have 5G connectivity, and then we have 2 times the transfer speed from the previous generation, although please do not get this confused with Thunderbolt. The iPad Air does not have Thunderbolt, so if you're expecting to dock this, it's not going to happen. So the only thing I can really say about the iPad Air is that it feels like a compelling product versus the iPad Pro, which it kind of is, because now they're sharing the same processor. The only major difference is what? ProMotion, the display itself, since it's OLED now. Well, it's not OLED, excuse me, mini LED, and Thunderbolt. That's about it. And Face ID. I mean, what else is there for the iPad Pro? I would say it's just the most premium experience you can get in an iPad format. But if you don't really care about those extra features, just get the iPad Air and call it a day. So this starts at $599. You can pre-order Friday and you can get it the following Friday. All right, so now let's move on to something, rub my hands together because I'm getting excited. Let's go to something that is giving me excitement, and that would be the Mac Studio. Now, a couple weeks ago, I told Apple, hey, you can't just leave this Mac Mini here. This product has been neglected for too long. We need more performance. And the Mac Mini needs more power because that is the target audience who it's designed for. Just give us a ton of processing power and we'll handle all the peripherals or whatever server configuration that we have. What do they do? They give me the Mac Studio. But I'll get to the processor in a second. So in terms of specs real quick, I'll run through them. So we have 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports, an HDMI port, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports in the front, SD card slot. We have 2 USB 3.1 Gen 2 drives, which that's why Apple said it's a USB-A drive. We have a 10 gig Ethernet port. We have a Pro audio jack. And then to complete our connectivity, we have Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5. Now, you can order today, obviously, because, you know, Apple likes the money. Base price is $2,000 with the M1 Max. Not that bad of a product, honestly. Not that bad. If you already have a setup that you're ready to use and you just need more horsepower, not that bad of a price. All right, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the $4,000 Mac Studio with the M1 Ultra. $4,000. Do you know what I have listed in my notes here? I have order never. Because let me talk about the chip for a second. Let me scroll up, right? M1 Ultra. Ultra Fusion, might I say. So, how do I even explain this chip? This is above my technical ability here, but I'm going to explain this the best I can. So, they have this architecture called Ultra Fusion, and this is basically combining 2 M1 Max processors or I should say dies, I think that's the right term, and making it one complete SoC. So we basically just have this souped up M1 Max on steroids for who? Well, I mean, they list reasons who it's for. You know, people doing 3D rendering in large environments. I'm speechless. This chip should not exist because it is not designed for typical consumers like you and me. This chip, I guarantee you, if a YouTuber gets this chip and is trying to justify that people should buy this, I think they're crazy. Because the M1 Max on its own was already hard to justify for like 99% of people. There's no way that the M1 Ultra is for, like, this is a business chip. This is a business chip. This chip right here, the M1 Ultra, with this Ultra Fusion technology, is for ultra performance professionals. So you can just think of this now as, instead of buying one expensive CPU and one expensive GPU that's probably at scalped prices, throw them together, make one processor, and that's all you need. And then on top of that, instead of having this crazy wattage from your CPU, crazy wattage from your GPU, the wattage combined is less than one component with the M1 Ultra. And you're getting ridiculous amount of performance, at least from what they're claiming. And it's like, who asked for this? And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying that in a way of like, in marvel, like how? The ingenuity, like, this makes me genuinely want to work at Apple and just talk to the hardware engineers and just be like, what goes on in your mind to create something like this? Because this is insane. Literally insane. Now, I want to read a quote from Apple because I think this is also very important for majority of people who are trying to follow this whole transition period to these M processors. So Apple said, M1 Ultra completes the M1 family as the world's most powerful and capable chip for a personal computer. Now, the way I decipher this is that the Ultra chip is the last chip that we are going to get in an M series. So from here on out, it's going to be M2, M2 Pro, M2 Max, M2 Ultra, years to come. Oh, and then year after year, the numbers are just going to increase. But that's how we can kind of decipher between them. I'm not really a fan of the Ultra name. I think they could have chosen something else. But it's fine for the most part. I guess now we have Ultra. Just please do not bring this into any other, lineups that you have. Like, don't do like MacBook Ultra or iPad Ultra, iPhone Ultra. Just leave this for your chips. This is a feat in itself. And I think Apple, the team who designed this chip and made this come together, I got to clap for you, because I am genuinely impressed. And I am now interested in working at Apple, but to be honest, you guys have not called me back after I submitted my resume, so we're not going to talk about that. But just to give a little bit of quick specs here, there's 20 CPU cores, there's 16 high performance cores, and then 4 efficiency cores. We have up to 64 GPU cores, and then we have twice the media engine. So here's what I'm going to say about the M1 Ultra and the $4,000 Mac Studio, because I assume YouTubers are going to get this and, have their own review. This one, I cannot get the M1 Ultra for this channel, and here is why, right? As a YouTuber that I don't really do that intensive task, I could barely push the M1 Max to its limit. There is no reason for me to buy something almost twice as powerful. I'd probably say 1.5, 1.5 more times more powerful, and try to justify how this chip should be used, if you should get it or not. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you do not need this chip. Unless you are the following: a business where time is of the essence, down to the second. If you need top performance and you can get away with doing it on macOS, or your stuff runs pretty well on Rosetta 2, the M1 Ultra is for you. Why? Your business probably makes a decent amount of money, and these machines, you might think this is expensive as a consumer, but for a business, if you want your employees to work the best that they can, you are going to provide them the best machines that you can provide them. And if they are cheaper, for example, here, instead of buying a crazy souped up PC that's supposed to run all the time and uses a lot of wattage, you can just get this small Mac Studio for $4,000, still use your displays and whatnot, and you're just getting vastly more performance and using less wattage overall. It's a win-win for businesses. Like I said, if time down to the second is important for your business, a $4,000 investment to reap, millions of dollars, if it can give you a better performance, better workflow, lower overhead on many things, Mac Studio, $4,000. It's the best investment you can make. What machine, and it's so portable, like, oh my God, who made this? Who made this? They should have called this M1 Ultimate, because this is the ultimate chip that the series can deliver. Period. So, with all that being said, the display. Let me talk about the display. Forgot about the display. Now you can see the excitement has left me because I'm not that impressed with the display. But we have something called the Studio display, which is a 27-inch 5K display. It's basically the XDR display without all the fancy stuff, so you don't have any HDR, which I think a lot of people don't need. You don't have, it's a display. It's a 5K display made by Apple, okay? It's $1,500. I think that's overpriced. I say that in question, but in confidence, I think it's overpriced. I don't think this is something that a lot of people should buy, but if you were in the market before, I think this kind of just makes the LG Ultrafine kind of irrelevant at this point, because in terms of the processing inside of the Studio display and any other Apple device you have, when you connect it up, I think it's just worth it to spend the extra money to get the Mac Studio or Studio Display instead. These stupid names are annoying. So just to cap off this video, I did order the green iPhone, so I will do an unboxing on the channel. I did order the Mac Studio. Won't tell you which one I got, cheaper one. And then I believe I ordered the display, so I'll have all these products on this channel to showcase for you guys, give you guys the unboxing experience that you all deserve, and give you a review once it's all said and done. So I appreciate every sub, like, and comment, and as always, guys, much love. Holy God, bro, $4,000. Can we say that together, ladies and gentlemen? $4,000. M1 Ultra.